Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Andrew Engel with Fresh Pick Leads. We're the lead generation company for Wisconsin real estate investors and small businesses. And today we are having our sixth episode of Fresh Pick Fridays. And again, this video series is really intended to bring in a local entrepreneur, talk to them a bit about what they're doing to get their next customer, close their next deal, really what are they doing to continue to grow? And we're really framing these conversations anywhere between lead generation through closing deals. And if you haven't checked out our previous videos, we'll link to those. But today we have with us David Nelson from Appleton, Wisconsin. He is a real estate investor and someone I wanted to get on the show since Fresh Pick Friday started. So I really wanted to really have him share his story. I think it's a great one. But we'll get into it. But David, thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I was saying, I really wanted to get you on the show to talk a bit about your story, because I think your story resonates with a lot of people. And I think it is something that's going to be really great for people who are like just getting started or just caught the real estate bug. Or it may even resonate with people who, have been there, and I really want to emphasize kind of like what it's like to get started in this business, particularly when you have no money. So jumping into this, let's start with, what are you doing today, and where is your business current state?
Well, Andrew, I am doing flips. I'm wholesaling deals. I'm also a host in the Green Bay Wisco RIA. This year I've started putting on some rentals. This is completes, August will complete the fourth full year of real estate investing full time for me. And I didn't have any business education or any kind of organizational skills to speak of when I started this thing. So I don't know if I've advanced as far as some people that have been doing it for 4 years, but I think I've made a considerable change from when I first started.
And this is a full-time business for you now.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Since I first started, I went into this thing full throttle, immersed myself in the education and the daily practice of it.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about really what your origin story is. Where did you come from, and what led up to that change where you're going, I'm going to leave this old lifestyle and completely immerse myself in this new one?
Well, if you want to go way back, my father was a business owner himself and in construction and mechanical trades. So I was exposed to that in the beginning, throughout growing up. But in my early 20s, he and I, started going separate ways. I wanted to do my own individual thing, and a buddy had a bar and grill, and so I started cooking there, and I found that I enjoyed it. I was good at it, so I just continued to do that, and I did that for 25 years. Worked my way up through, I was running a restaurant at the end a couple of times. Those jobs don't have high turnover because there's no real benefits besides, being able to eat and drink at the restaurant. That kind of a job consumes your life. You have lots of hours there when other people are celebrating life, holidays, other life events. You're working to provide them with with the food for the event or whatever. So all nights, weekends, and holidays I was working, and it wasn't much of a life. Eventually, when I quit, I was 46 years old, working for a guy that was 26 years old, at for $12.50 an hour. And, a portion of that went to my health benefits because I was working for Lawrence University at the time. But I was a grill cook. And we were doing 800 people, we're feeding 800 people a day, and it was just super high paced. And finally, they were adding on more work on top of what I was already doing. And I was, I just didn't have any more to give. And I just decided I was going to quit. There's some background with the different programs that I saw. What inspired me, so a friend had a Dean Graziosi program that he paid $25,000 for, that he still has not done one wholesale deal with.
Oh, geez.
4 years later. So anyway, I went to visit him. He said, I got this great new program. Come check it out. I went there. I was like, I'm quitting my job. I'll move in with you. We're going to do this thing. We're going to kick ass on it. And he started getting nervous and backpedaling. And I went home, quit my job, and started reading everything I could on the internet about it and made it happen.
Wow. Yeah, that's drastic. but awesome.
That says massive action right there.
Yes. That's a key point in this this discussion, is truly massive action. For anyone who hasn't started yet, that will come up a lot. So let's go from here. Where did you go from here? Did you find a mentor? Did you go to, did you pay somebody to learn something? Like, what was your next step there?
Well, all the information that was available to me on the internet suggested a few things. Go to a RIA meeting, a real estate investors meeting in your local area. Get a mentor. Do something. Just do something. Go do it. Don't think about it. I'm pretty good at that, doing and not thinking. No. So I did that. I went to a local RIA here in, at the time it was in Appleton, and I saw this guy sitting over in the corner, and he just had some air about him of, I was a pretty shy guy, and I had, I didn't speak at the meeting or anything. I barely talked to anybody else, but I did talk to this guy. I heard him say a few things. I assumed rightly that he knew what he was talking about, and I asked him for his phone number, and I called him, and it just, he started mentoring me.
Okay, so you found someone that you want to mentor you. You got their phone number. You call them. What's next?
I called Jason up, and I had already done a lot of I'd already self-educated in looking up properties on the tax rolls. I have a analytical mind, so I was reverse engineering this. I knew I needed a deal, and to get a deal, I needed, so I backwards engineered it. I need to find the people that are motivated to sell. How do I do that? I put out signs. And so I had already learned the basic things that I needed to do that would help me find the deal. And so, Jason tested me too. He would throw me out a lead, or he'd send me an address, and he'd say, look this up. And in a half hour, I'd have all the information on the property, as much as anyone could find about the owner. And later, a couple of years down the road, he would say, that impressed him. you deal with some people and they're just dabbling in this, or they, aren't committed, and they all they do is just ask questions that they don't try to find the answers on their own. And
I think that's a really good point that you bring up is, people, when they first get into this business, they hear, I need a mentor. I need a mentor so that I can be successful. And it sounds like what it really is it's someone to guide you. And the crux of it is you need to do all the work. If you're not, a mentor is not going to make you successful if you aren't putting in the effort and the time to build your own business. They're not going to build it for you, right?
That's exactly correct. And not only should they not be telling you everything to do, all the information, they're not a resource for all that information. They could put boundaries. I'm not sure how to say this, but they could curtail your creativity and slow you down, and you might be able to find some answer, some new
you're thinking within the box that they are providing,
right? And if they don't give you a box, then you can what's that word that means come up with something new? Innovate.
Sure.
You can innovate in the field and come up with maybe something nobody's ever thought of doing.
Yeah, I love that. So then from here, let's talk about this. So you quit your job. You have how much money at this point?
Well, I think I was broke, and I was waiting on my next $253 check. I remember that number distinctly. It was a full week, or I think it was my last check, so it wasn't a full 2-week period. I think it was just, I quit right in the middle of the pay period, so it was 1 week. That's how I know how much I was making per week. It's freaking ridiculous. That's, no overtime. Crazy.
Okay, so you are waiting on $250,000 or $253, and you are starting off looking to get a deal. And normally, more like established investors, they are marketing and they're putting dollars towards marketing. So you have $253 to live off of. What are you doing for marketing? Like you had to resort to free or very low cost marketing. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct. So the first marketing tool that a beginning investor should get are business cards. You can get 500 of them for $10 from Vistaprint. If you can find them anywhere else cheaper, do it. It is an inexpensive way to hand that card to every person you meet, because every person potentially knows or has someone in their family that is getting to a point where they can't manage their property anymore or have to sell it for some other reasons. So that was one of the critical first marketing tools that I used. Was I would say this to everybody I met. My name's, I would introduce myself or whatever. In conversation, I wouldn't even introduce myself. I would say, you know what, I'm a real estate investor, and I don't want to get pitchy on you or anything, but I pay referrals for anyone that's able to bring me a house that I can close on. $1,000 in cash, and I pay it as soon as I close on the property. And I got leads that way. I have gotten deals that way. So there was also, I couldn't afford bandit signs at the beginning. Do you want me to go right into each individual one?
Absolutely.
Okay. I couldn't afford bandit signs. It was $199 or $99 for 50, I think it was at the time. And came to Jason. He's like, are you doing bandit signs? I'm like, no, I can't afford them. And he says, well, he gave me a bunch of different options. You can partner with another person, get a Google number that you both have access to, partner with somebody to go in on a starter batch of bandit signs. But he said, shit, for $20, you can go down to Michael's craft shop, get one of those trifold. I even have that thing right over here in the garage. Get a trifold presentation cardboard thing and write on it with a big old fat Sharpie, "We buy houses." And he says, I want you to go out and do that and go on the corner of Highway 41 and Wisconsin Street on the on-ramp there and stand out there for 2 hours and get somebody to take a picture of you as they drive by and text me a picture of you doing it. And there's a picture out on Facebook somewhere on the me doing that, because he immediately posted that, much to my chagrin.
Very cool. Very cool.
So, yeah, I was gonna run over there and grab that thing, but hold on a second.
Yeah.
So I keep this because, it shows me where I have come from, Anyway.
That's Sharpie?
No, I had to elevate that shit, man. I got some yellow and green spray paint and some stencils for my $20.
Okay, so that cost you $20.
I kicked it up a notch. I think I even had like a couple of bucks left over for a 20-ounce Coke or something.
Okay. So we're at $30 now. We got $10 for the business cards and then $20 for the sign, which actually could have cost you much less than $20 if you wouldn't have gone all out with the stencils and spray paint.
Yeah, that stencil kit was like $8.99 or something like that.
Yikes. All right. So you do those two things. Anything else?
Craigslist. I posted on Craigslist. There was any online ad posting service that you could think of. There was Backpage, Garage Sale, all these obscure things that I searched out. I posted on all of those too. Now there's hundreds more. It's just,
given all of those things, you're just networking. You are going out and just showing up your sign, hoping people will drive by, call it, and you're using the internet to kind of free market. So with all of that, how many hours a day were you putting in? Because you quit your job now. So how many hours would you say you were putting in each day just trying to find a deal?
I was probably doing 40 hours a week. I would say 4 days a week I was doing some serious morning till night activity. But, I wasn't killing myself by any means. I don't want anybody, I want to be perfectly, honest on this thing. I was screwing off a lot too.
Okay, so how long did it exactly take from the time you quit your job to actually landing your first deal?
3 months.
If you don't mind me asking, how much did you make on that deal?
Well, that's an interesting question too, because ultimately I made $15,000. I made $10,000 off of the wholesale, and then I contracted with the investor that bought the deal from me to general contract to manage the project. And I wasn't a contractor at that time, but eventually I ended up getting my contractor's license throughout this journey as well. So he paid me another $5,000 out of the profits to manage the project.
So you now have, well, $10,000 of spending money.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So like at that point, you have money to basically live, but are you now putting money into your business, into marketing?
Yes, I am now paying my phone bill. And, $10,000 is a stack of hundreds like this tall. It's $100 bills.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started, I went all out. I bought some bandit signs, a banner. I bought some, I started doing some direct mail. I got some t-shirts, all the ridiculousness. I got one of those vinyl wraps for my 1993 Toyota 4Runner with 255,000 miles on it or something. It was great.
So at this point, you're now putting money into your marketing. Are you continuing to do the free marketing techniques that you started with, or are you dropping some of those?
Nope. Well, I wasn't walking out on the off-ramp to the highway anymore. I actually paid a guy. So throughout this, I always think about those people that maybe have difficulty getting work or being employable or whatever. I try to help those people out in my business. I try to give a job to people from the local shelter. I have taken people out of the shelters and put them to work, doing demo or cleanup or walking around with my signs. I've paid these guys to wear my signs on their body and walk up and down busy streets in my city.
So you have kept that original like hustle marketing technique. You've just outsourced it.
Yeah.
I did not expect that. That's great.
I started paying people to put out my bandit signs for me too. Eventually I started, the first year that I was doing this, I went from making $22,000 a year the previous year to 120 that first year. And so I took advantage of any opportunity that I could to free up the time for me to do the things that I'm really good at, talking to sellers. There's a story, there's a huge story about how I learned how to estimate repairs and stuff too. I did it really super organically. A lot of people use some, $5 per square foot for a light rehab, $20 per square foot for a heavy rehab. I actually went out and made calls to the contractors to find out what they charge. I called, 10 or 20 of each field, 10 or 20 in each field, flooring guys, roofing guys, siding guys. I went to Home Depot to memorize what the cost of materials are: drywall, siding, roofing, vanities, shower surrounds. So I spent a lot of time doing those things as well.
Okay, so if you could go back here, this is going to be the $1 million question. If you could go back to where you started in the exact same position, but with all the knowledge you have now, would you build your business differently?
I don't know if I would go back if I went back with everything I know now, if I would do those things or spend more time in those things. I think I would find another solution for them. I would develop a team sooner or something. I would learn how to create a team. That's still a challenge for me, is team play. Hiring and outsourcing the things that I need someone else to do, things that I'm not good at, those things, the CRM thing, the follow-up thing, because I still really don't do those things. And I would make it a priority to find out how to team build and how to hire, because that's what I'm doing now. I'm still not doing that stuff, but I'm finding out the best solution to getting those things done.
Okay, so it sounds like what you would do differently is you would focus on what you're good at and outsource the rest sooner than later.
Right.
All right. Very cool. Okay, so just wrapping up here then. So what, if you could give one piece of advice to somebody who is just getting started, they just got bit by the real estate bug and want to start finding deals, what would you give to them as some advice?
I think it was Warren Buffett said something about action is like interest or compound interest. The more you put in, the more you get out, or something like that. So I would say do something now. Anybody can do this. If I don't have an college education, I don't come from a good family or any of those things. Not a smart guy, basically. Well, maybe I am a smart guy, but I'm not like strange, uniquely intelligent or anything. I just did something. I just took action in spite of the fear. So you have to have a little bit of courage. So just go after it. Anybody can do this if you do it. That's the key word. Massive action.
Excellent, Dave. This has been awesome. If anyone wants to connect with you, learn more about you, where can they do that?
So at Crazy Homebuyer on Facebook, you can just look up David Nelson or www.crazyhomebuyers.com.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks again, Dave. This was awesome. Loved it. We'll link to your profiles and websites below. But thanks for joining us today. That was an awesome interview.
Thanks, Andrew. Have a good day.